clamp right here, this saved my butt. This saved me hundreds of dollars. All right, so for those of you that have a HW8 725 system, leveling system on your RV, let me share a few things that I've learned about the system if you're having problems with it, working intermittently, that type of thing. I'm about to actually go through some more steps on mine to get mine working right, because mine is actually still messing up. But let me share one key thing with you that helped me make it work for quite a while before it started just now recently messing up again. See that? Parking brake's down. It even says it on the dash, but it says not in park. You're really supposed to always do this with the engine running, but it won't make any difference. We'll start the engine here. So that's the other thing, make sure you always have proper voltage too. There's a few tests you want to do before you know, well, maybe doing this at first isn't really going to hurt anything. Having clean connections is just never a bad thing. So, but anyway, I've tested all that other stuff, the voltage already, blah, blah, blah. Now we're trying to get down to what's really going on with this thing. So we're going to clean the positive contacts all over the place. I'm just going to go through all of them. I got a can of QD electronic cleaner, stainless steel wire brush, and I'm just going to go through all the connections that I can find for this pump and see if we can get it to work reliably. No such luck. All right, let's keep going with these connections. Clean the next ones. Hopefully we can get some progress. As you probably heard, and then it quit again, which is just about what it's been doing. Maybe we should use that electronic cleaner in that in the main plug here. I think I've done that before, but let's just do it again and see what happens. So one of the main problems with this system, the way it's designed, here is the pump. This is the reservoir right here where the oil goes into, and right here is where the pump mounts to the frame of the RV, right? That's actually the ground point for the pump. And corrosion builds up between the pump and the ground point, or sometimes it just becomes loose. So what you need to do first of all is disconnect the screws here that hold the pump on. Take those off. This will become loose. Slide it if you can a little bit to get access to clean it off, and also clean off the mount on the frame of the RV. Get you some sandpaper and make sure it's really clean, and then I would suggest putting maybe a little dielectric grease there to prevent it from corroding back as easily, and then tighten everything down real snug. If that doesn't work, then go through your connections, which is what I'm about to do. I went through a lot of the ground connections so far, but now I'm about to go through the positive. That's the recommendation I got from a gentleman who's known to help out people. I think his name is Paul. I found him online and they said give him a call. If you search for these jacks online, you'll find his email and phone number. Seems to be like he just does it to help people out. He's not really looking for money or anything. So shout out to him for doing that. We appreciate it. The first thing to check though, if you're having problems, depending on what your problem is, would be to make sure your parking brake is right. Make sure that it's sending the ground to your controller on the pump. I've already been past all that, but let me start there to tell you, if you're having an issue with your system saying that it's not in park when you try to engage it, even though you do have the parking brake engaged, that's the issue that I'm dealing with here. So the first thing you do is obviously to make sure that the pump itself is seeing the ground, and you check that. I believe it's D8, the D8 pin on the connector to the pump. First, go underneath where your parking brake is and make sure that there's not a loose wire or anything coming directly from your parking brake that the HWH is going to sense. If it's connected, then use a voltmeter to test the pin that's going, the wire that's going into your actual module under here. And it's I think it's D8. I don't remember for sure. Just look it up. You'll see. There's plenty of forums about it. And then you test that wire to make sure when you engage the parking brake that this wire becomes a ground. The wire that is referenced becomes a ground. This pump has to see a ground on that wire, otherwise it won't operate, because it'll think that it's not in park. It'll think that the parking brake is not engaged. But if you're past that point and your system's working intermittently and the ground's good from the parking brake, that's where this video is supposed to pick up. So the first thing I'm going to do is check all the connections that lead up to the unit on the positive side. I've done the ground already, and I've checked the solenoids back in the behind here. That's another thing you can do, is check your solenoids to make sure they're good. You can jump the black wire of the solenoid, the little wire, to the positive side, the other part of the solenoid, to engage it. Let's see, am I saying that right? Well, you basically look up how to test your solenoid, because that's not really what I'm doing here anyway. But I'm going to clean all these connections. That would be one of the best things to do. So let's see if it makes a difference, because right now it is truly working intermittent. Let me see if I can. Hey guys, this is a cool little trick that I found. If you have an RV and you're having problems with anything in your RV working right, like your generator, your lift jacks, or other systems that use a potted circuit board. And a potted circuit board is the ones that are dipped, they're like coated in a thick resin to make it waterproof and weatherproof and all that, corrosion resistant, blah, blah, blah. So I'll show you one here in a second, in case you don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're watching this video, you probably do know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I have had my generator act really funny, and I traced it down to the potted board on the generator. I have an Onan quiet diesel 5500 generator that would have all kind of sporadic issues and shutting down and error codes and problems. And for the longest time, I thought it was the connector, because when I would move the connector around, you could hear the fuel pump prime and then not prime, not prime, depending on how you jostled the connector. So I took all the pins out of the Cannon plug, replaced the pins, checked wires. I mean, went through all this headache for, I think, probably 2 years. I even went to Yakima Generator in Washington. I went through all this trouble trying to trace fix this problem. And so I replaced all the pins. It still was sporadic. And what I traced it down to was the potted board had become, like the circuits on the board had become loose. The solder inside on the board, kind of works its way loose over time and vibration and heat and everything. And so all it takes is one thing not to make a good connection, and then you have a board that either doesn't work at all or works intermittently. So on that board, the material for the that they used to pot it, if you will, the resin was like a clear, and I was able to take a little pick and then pick back the resin and redo just take a soldering iron and tap on the part that was loose, and it resoldered it, and it's been working perfectly ever since. I mean, for the longest time, my generator was hit or miss. If it would work, it would throw error codes. It was just a nightmare. And ever since I did that little fix on it, it's been fine. And so that's been months ago, and my generator has not missed a beat since. Literally, it has not had an error problem since. Thank goodness. Now, the other issue that I have was my jacks working intermittently. I would get I have HWH's 725 system in my RV right now, and my jacks would sometimes work, sometimes not. And sometimes I'd try to lower them and it would say not in park. And even though it was in park. So I traced the ground wire, did all that stuff. I called different people, HWH, which is horrible about calling you back. It take like weeks to return a phone call. They'll tell you that straight up. It's going to take a long time. Horrible customer service. Called some guy named Paul who helped me out a little bit. He said, hey, go through the connections, clean everything, spray it with contact cleaner, check your grounds, check your positive side, which is all great advice. Because a lot of times corrosion can cause havoc on one of those systems. So that's like the first thing you want to check out is your connections, of course. If you have a problem with pretty much anything electrical, check all the connections, make sure they're really tight and clean. Get some of that spray from AutoZone for cleaning connectors and everything, like a red and white can. So anyway, did all that. Sometimes it would behave for a while, sometimes it wouldn't. It got better, it got worse, but it never worked reliably, So I started thinking about the potted circuit board that's connected to that HWH system. Let's go take a look at it real quick here. I got my generator fan going still because my generator just ran. It's a cooling system I put in here because it overheats. I've done all kind of cool stuff. If you guys want to see some of the cool stuff I did in an explanation, let me know. But I got a custom water heater control that I can adjust the temperature of my water heater to any temperature I want. I got a fan that cools my generator so it doesn't overheat when it's in this bay down here. Even my refrigerator has custom controls on it that allow me to tailor exactly the right temperature I want for my refrigerator. Or I can make my freezer a refrigerator, my refrigerator freezer, whatever I want to do since I have that versatility. It's better than the little lights that they give you on just the regular way of doing it. If you're interested in that, drop a comment, let me know. Anyway, back to the subject at hand here. Okay, it's going to be a little noisy. Actually, I'll just turn off the fan. Hold on a second. All right. So that is a potted circuit board right there. You guys see that? See how it's dipped in resin? You can see the LEDs at the top right there. It's not on right now, so the LEDs aren't lit up. But this guy right here is a potted circuit board. Underneath that, that black substance is a circuit board, and it's all encapsulated in that black substance. Now, I haven't tried this since I fixed it. But let's try the leveling system. It may or may not work because the fix I have may be helping it still. All right, let's put down the brake. So the brake is on, and let's try it. probably working due to what I did here. A lot of time it'd get to this point and then it would fail. It would start and then it would just cut out. I got some video of that, I'm sure I'll put up. So it's working good now. Let me show you guys what I did. I think it's gonna go all the way here. Oh, it's working like a champ now. All right, let me show you what I did. You see this clamp right here? This saved my butt. This saved me hundreds of dollars. I think the board was $600+. And I'll show you what I did here. Oh yeah, she's leveling beautifully. All right. If you guys have a problem with your board and you know it's not your connections, this is what you do. Is you get one of these clamps and you try different spots on your board clamping it down. So if there's a loose connection in this potting right here, this clamp will squeeze it together and make it connect. So I tried it over here first, it didn't work. The second place I put it was right here. And you can even see the old clamp marks. I mean, you can see where the dirt has been around the clamp. You see that? That's where the clamp goes on this one. And it has squeezed that connection together. And my system has literally not had any problems since. Sorry for the crappy video, but I think you get the point. So that right there has saved my butt. Lots of money, lots of frustration. So get a clamp, go around your board, whatever board it is, and try the clamp method. And once you find a spot that it works, just leave the clamp right there and forget about it. And you'll get a lot of life out of your board, and you'll save a lot of money. Hey, if this helped you, why don't you guys like the video, subscribe, and buy me a beer. I'll put my link in the PayPal. Only buy me a beer though if it actually saved you some money and it helped you. But at least I earned a beer, right? Anyway, you guys take care.